If I don't help you get better at learning in this video, then I want you to leave a dislike under this video. So, how do I plan on fulfilling that promise? Well, I'm going to start by breaking it down into 4 key things, and we're going to go through each of them. The first is the 80-20 rule. So for this one, I need you to imagine that you only have 1 hour to do all the work. If you had to do everything in that 1 hour, what would you pick? Those are probably 20% of what you normally would have, what you would have done for the whole hour. This will lead to 80% of the results. So what do I mean by that? That means when you're studying for a test, there's probably a couple things you do. You do some practice problems, right? You study, and you probably do stuff with your friends because you think that's productive. In reality, this is the only thing that really matters. Let's assume this is 20% and this is the 80%. This 20% is what's getting you your actual score. So you can actually just get rid of this and you will still have the result that you want. So that's what we want to do. So we want to eliminate things that are not going to help us and stick with the stuff that actually will. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is this thing called negative framing. Negative framing is basically the reverse of everything you've learned. You've probably been told set some sort of goal and work towards it, right? You have some goal and you're working towards it, right? This is where you are and you're working towards that goal. What I want you to do is think about the reverse. What happens if you don't hit your goal? So what can happen? Like, let's go back to the test example because it's easy. Your parents will be disappointed, right? Your friends will think you're dumb. And it'll cause a lot of stress for you because you either have to do good on the next one or you will face some sort of consequences, right? There's basically these 3 things. So I want you to do a practice next time. Do this thing from Tim Ferriss's book, 4-Hour Workweek, called fear setting. Basically what this is you're showing yourself what will happen if you don't hit the goal. And you basically are running away from those problems. It's a lot easier to run away, and fear is a much stronger emotion than, chasing and hope and whatnot. So these stuff will actually get you up in the morning, right? For example, take these YouTube videos, I want to make it work because if not, the alternative is I go work at some 9 to 5 that I absolutely hate for the next 60 years of my life. So I want to make this work. That's how I'm setting my own goals. That's why I want to build, a good community and why I'm willing to make a video like this and literally tell you to go hit the dislike button because it'll tell me, oh, okay, I need to fix the video. I need to change it to make it better for you guys. So on that point, let's go to the next one. Competition. What do I mean by this? All it is be okay with, going against your friends, right? Or peers and treat it as a competition. If, for example, take the test, right? If you can frame it in your head that if you don't do as well, then you are dumber than your friend. And from personal experience, I hate that. And that will motivate me to keep going. And that brings us to a key point. Motivation versus discipline. So discipline is what should keep you going 90% of the time. And a lot of times these self-help people will tell you that this motivation is bad. However, I think that's completely wrong. This is like the fuel to the fire. The fire can already go with discipline, right? Let's try to draw a really bad fire. This is a fire, right? And this is your discipline. However, when you add motivation, oh my God, that sucks. When you add this motivation, that's what's going to make your fire even bigger, right? This doesn't have to be all the time. You only need it at certain points. And competition can be that extra motivation, that drive. These other 2, these are like your consistent, small little actions that you always do. The last point I want you to take into your mind is this thing called fake intrigue. This I actually learned from an SAT coach when I did that a while back. For people that don't know, this is a standardized test that they make high schoolers take to get into like a good college or whatever. And I scored pretty well on it. So what my coach told me that I'll still use today is the way that you make sure that you pay attention to what's going on is you literally like fake a smile and pretend that you're super interested in whatever the exam is about. So whatever it's reading, like literally say it in your head, like, oh, like I can't wait to like learn more about rocks, or I can't wait to read this passage on rocks and answer these questions because, man, just rocks are so intriguing. And at first it's going to seem super corny, right? Because like, who the heck cares? But being able to do that will kind of force your brain to go into that state where it's like looking for things that will actually create intrigue within you. And it helps you look at the little parts that will give you an advantage over your competition. So if you can do that, that will lead to you essentially learning better, which is what I want you to do. So try out all of those and hopefully they work. And hopefully you guys like this new style of video. If you don't, let me know in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.